Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Mr. Nadler for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gun violence continues to take the lives of more than 100 Americans every day. It changes how safe we feel in our schools and in our houses of worship. It reduces vibrant cities to somber headlines. It takes our loved ones, old and young, and leaves us with another anniversary of lives cut short and a community forever changed. One of those tragic anniversaries was yesterday. On March 2nd, 2021 at 2:30, a shooter opened fire in the parking lot of a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. The shooter used a pistol with a stabilizing brace, an accessory that turned the gun into a concealable assault rifle. 10 people were killed, including Officer Eric Talley, a father of 7, and one of 69 officers killed on duty that year. It is against this sobering backdrop that Republicans have called this hearing to criticize the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, the law enforcement agency tasked with keeping guns out of the wrong hands. Rather than inviting the agency's director for serious discussions of ATF's work, the majority has called representatives of the gun industry and those who profit from defending them. The witnesses include the person who invented and sells stabilizing braces just like the one used to kill 10 people in Boulder. At least Republicans are transparent about their goal. They have introduced a bill to abolish the ATF. They seek to eliminate the law enforcement agency responsible for protecting communities from gun violence, stopping gun trafficking, and ensuring lawful and responsible gun ownership. Local law enforcement depends on ATF to provide resources that help them solve crimes and prevent gun violence. But the majority seeks to strip them of this vital assistance that keeps their communities safe. It is essential that we conduct oversight of our agencies to make sure they are fulfilling their missions. But today's hearing makes no attempt at that. Instead, it shows how radically out of step my Republican colleagues are with both the American people and with law enforcement. Democrats have put forth a variety of solutions to prevent gun violence, to support law enforcement, and to solve crimes. But our colleagues across the aisle continue to push for unfettered access to assault weapons, concealable rifles, and ghost guns. As Republicans continue to seek freedom from gun regulation, we will continue to seek communities free from violence. We know that the Second Amendment, only half of which the chairman quoted, reads, quote, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed," unquote. We know that it was adopted because of the framers' fear of standing armies. This fact was not disputed, and the Second Amendment turned into a general license for the private possession of firearms until an extremist Supreme Court decided the Heller case 11 years ago. Mr. Wilcox, we've heard a lot of talk today about the ATF's rule subjecting firearms equipped with stabilizing braces to regulation. Does that rule do anything more than close a loophole that allowed people to evade public safety regulations simply by adding accessories to pistols to transform them into short-barreled rifles? And again, short-barreled rifles have been regulated under the National Firearms Act passed by Congress in 1934, haven't they?
Thank you, Ranking Member. Yes, you're correct. This was ATF enforcing a law that's been on the books for 90 years, catching up with changing in technology and regulating weapons that Congress long ago decided needed to be treated differently than other firearms.
And Mr. Wilcox, more than 300 Americans are shot every day, and more than 100 of those people who face gun violence lose their lives every day. Do other countries have similar rates of gun violence and gun deaths? And if not, what, in your opinion, accounts for the difference?
So right now, the United States has a gun homicide rate 26 times higher than other high-income countries. I think that's what we've had enough of, and what we need is strong gun laws, because the states with strong gun laws have less gun violence. And I'm very proud to have seen Congress, in a bipartisan manner, pass the first federal legislation in 30 years last year to strengthen our laws, invest in communities, and save lives, because that's our ticket. It's downstream investment in community-based organizations and upstream enforcement on the sources of illegal guns.
Thank you. My colleagues across the aisle like to blame Democratic cities for this nation's problem with gun violence. Can you please explain what the Iron Pipeline is and how it contributes to gun violence in cities and states that have stronger gun regulations?
Yeah, so the Iron Pipeline is describing a gun trafficking channel. It's how guns move from states with weak gun laws to states with stronger gun laws. But I really do think about it as just the movement of illegal guns. And what we know is that criminals are targeting states with weaker gun laws, sales without background checks, gun dealers who they know will skirt the law to acquire legal guns and move them into our cities. That's the critical intervention point. That's what ATF does. Just recently, they busted a gun trafficking ring that moved 500 guns that were acquired from online no background check sales in Georgia to California. It's why we need ATF on this front line.
Thank you. My time has expired. I yield back.
Thank you. The chair